Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday we were discussing about the fuse. So today we'll see the fuse characteristics. So fuses, if you see the fuse, they are characterized by the thermal and interrupting characteristics. So they will have the thermal and the interrupting characteristics. So they have thermal and interrupting characteristics. And thermal characteristic, if you see, they are quite intuitive and relate to the following. That is, these thermal characteristics, it relates to the following. That is the current rating, and second one is the melting characteristics. And interrupting characteristics is it relates to the voltage rating and the interrupting rating. That is the voltage rating and the interrupting rating. Now, what do you mean by thermal characteristics? So, if let's discuss this thermal characteristics. So, if you see, as the magnitude of the current increases, the melting time reduces. The current is more, the melting time it reduces. And it should be obvious that the larger magnitude current will lead to the higher power dissipation, that is I square R in the fuse, and hence faster rise in temperature of the element. This would imply that the melting time of the fuse is inversely proportional to the to the magnitude of the square of the current. So melting time is inversely proportional to the magnitude of the square of the current, and the relationship between the magnitude of the current that causes melting and the time needed for it to melt is given by the fuse melting time characteristics. That is the relationship, it gives the relationship between the magnitude of the current and that causes the melting and the time needed by it to melt, that is Tm. So if you see that the characteristics, that the time current characteristics, if you see that we have also discussed in the last lecture, it would be somewhat like that. So it would be somewhat like that. And what we do when we are studying these characteristics, we actually use the this you can say the log paper, because in that very case we can have the large ranges can be when discussed in that. So that thing is there. So further, if you see the fuse does not carry the initial current, and the ambient temperature in case of fuse is between 20 degree to 30 degrees Celsius. This temperature is as per the IEEE standard. The name of this standard is IEEE standard 37.41 1994. So it is as per this standard. So this is these are actually the thermal characteristics. And now the melting of the fuse element is you can say is due to the thermal effect, and it does not depends upon any other forces like the mechanical forces or the inertia. Thus there is no limit on how you can say the short the melting time can be. It wholly depends upon the current and the heating element. So you can say that the small melting time of the fuse at a very high current tends to distinguish it with the most of the protective devices. So these are actually the thermal characteristics, and the whatever we have this drawn, it is time in seconds, and it is the current in amperes that we have also discussed in the last lecture. So this is about the thermal characteristics. Now second one is we have the interrupting characteristics. So if you see, so in this case, what we have not assumed that the power apparatus contain the inductive elements, but in reality, the power apparatus contains the inductive elements. It contains the inductive elements, and the melting of the fusee element is not sufficient to interrupt the current. So you can say that whatever you want, if suppose the circuit is resistive in nature, that's okay. But however, the inductive elements are there in the circuit, so the melting of the fusing element is not sufficient to interrupt that particular current, because there is the difference between the voltage and the current in case of the inductive circuit. So there is always some period of arcing before the current is this interrupted. That is, there is the period of arcing before the current is interrupting, and during this period fuse must withstand any transient voltage condition. During this arcing period, the fuse must withstand any transient voltage condition. So it must withstand any transient voltage condition and steady state recovery voltage. So how the transient this condition is came into being when the circuit is interrupted? In that very case, what happens? The whole of the circuit will be changed, and because whenever the circuit will be changed, the transient condition is there. Whenever you on the switch for that, suppose you on the light, you on the switch, so there is the transient condition in that very case also, because there is a change in circuit condition. So we can say that addition of the melting time, we can say that the addition of the melting time and the arcing overhead, and this arcing overhead, it is the total clearing time. It is the total clearing time. So what this total clearing time is, what is its significance? This total clearing time is also denoted by TCC, that is total clearing time. So it actually describes the this information, that is, it gives us the information between the time and the current in the amperes, but time in that case is the total clearing time. So we can say that if we take the case of this system with the inductive elements, you can have the graph similarly like we have above for thermal characteristics. Here we have time. Here we have current in amperes. And we plot all on the logarithmic scale. So you can say that for the lower currents, melting time can be large, which is obvious from this that if the lower current is there, then large melting time is there, large heat produced is very less. So because of the lower stored energy in the induction circuit, so one way you can say that for the lower currents, the melting time, if the current is lower, then in that very case, the melting time is large. And this is due to the fact, because of the lower stored energy, that is energy stored in the inductor is 1 by 2 Li square in the induction element. And for the large current, the melting time is small, which is obvious from this. So, but the arcing time is large. So the TCC for melting time and the total clearing time diverges as the I increases, which is obvious from this diagram. So both these characteristics are actually required. These thermal characteristics and this you can say the interrupting characteristics are required to coordinate the backup fuse or the overcurrent relay or any other protective device. So because the backup, if you take the case of the backup relay, so backup relay must provide the sufficient window or opportunity for the primary fuse to clear the fault, and which ensures the selectivity. So we have to coordinate between these two thermal and the interrupting characteristics. Now, one more characteristics is there. This is the very inverse melting characteristics. So if you see this characteristics, if you see the thermal characteristics, so it is sometimes it would be very inverse melting characteristics is there. They have sometimes the characteristics would be very inverse melting characteristics. Very inverse melting characteristics. So now to understand this, we need to address the physics of the problem. That what is the physics of this whole of the problem? If you take the case of the current, when the overcurrent, when you can say the overcurrents are small. Let us suppose that this current is there, and then we can have the overcurrent of that. That is the current is greater than the rated value. That is current is more than the rated value, that is you can say the overcurrent. Now when if you see that when the overcurrent is small, that is the current is more than the rated value is small, the heat generated, overcurrent is small, then in that very case the heat generated is low. Otherwise, what happens that if the current is in the rated, it is under the rated value, then in that very case, what happens? The heat generated is equals to heat dissipated. Heat generated is equals to heat dissipated, and though no increase in the current is there in that fuse. However, when overcurrent is there, however small overcurrent is there, then heat generated is low. However, it is slightly, you can say slightly greater than what rate of dissipation? Slightly greater than rate of dissipation. Now, because of that, the temperature of that element which we are considering, let us suppose that this is the fuse element, this is the current, and this is the fuse element. So the temperature of this element increases, but it increases gradually. It increases gradually, and as the current increases, as there is the increase in the current, melting time, that is, let us suppose that it is Tm, as there is increase in the current, then melting time reduces. At what rate? It reduces at a rate which is, it reduces at a rate which is more than the expected increasing rate of the heat generation, which is greater than expected increased rate of heat generation due to I square R. So what happens as the you can say as the time increases gradually and as the current increases, then in that very case what happens, the melting time also reduces, but it is at the rate which is greater than the expected increased rate of heat generated due to the I square R losses. Now, why is it so that why the rate of increase is more than what is expected? It is because the heat which is generated in the reduced cross section are the center of the element. Within the center of the element, let us suppose that this is the element. So the heat that is generated within the center of the element, that is generated within the center of the element, cannot be removed. That is, we won't have as much dissipation as on the outer surface. So it cannot be removed as fast as produced. So it cannot be removed as fast as it produced. So this gives the fuse the very inverse type characteristics. So we can have the very inverse type characteristics in that. So because of that, many the fuse have the sometimes a very inverse type characteristics, which is required in many of the applications. Now, one more thing is there in that. voltage rating. So we have seen the voltage rating in terms of this. You can say that interrupting characteristics. So what is the voltage rating? So the voltage rating, you can say that you can say that the rating or the you can say that it is the highest voltage at which the fuse is designed to operate. So voltage rating of the fuse, you can say voltage rating of the fuse. So you can say that it is the highest voltage at which the fuse is designed to operate. So it is the highest voltage at which the fuse is designed to operate, and it is important that fuse should not be asked to interrupt at the current which is above this voltage. So that is a very important point. Now we will discuss the types of fuses. What are the different types of fuses that are available? So fuse can be categorized as non-current limiting type, and then we will have the current limiting type. So under the non-current limiting type, we will have the expulsion and the vacuum type. So we will have the expulsion type and the vacuum type. Now we'll discuss the non-current limiting type fuse, that are the expulsion type. Expulsion type, it is a non-current type of fuse. We can say that it is used where the expulsion gases cause no problem in the circuits and the equipment, where the expulsion gases causes no problem in the circuits and the equipment. So these kind of you can say fuses are also known as the current awaiting type fuses. And their mechanism is same as compared to that of the circuit breaker. The temperature of the arc in this case is of the order of nearly about 4000 to 5000 Kelvin. So, uh, so what happens whenever the temperature increases in the fuse? It is actually the closed fuse, and whenever the temperature occurs in that particular fuse, what happens? Let us suppose that this is the fuse, closed fuse, and the temperature increases, and this is suppose the wire in that, and the temperature increases. Now, whenever the temperature increases in that fuse, what happens? The materials that are located in the close proximity of the fuse rapidly create the gases because of the heat. Because of the heat, the material which is near the this fuse element, it creates the gases. This material creates the gases, and the preferred material that is used that can create the gases, so that materials that are used that creates the gases in that very case are fiber, melamine, then we will have boric acid, then we have carbon tetrachloride. So these are actually the materials which are used and which produces the gases. So what these gases will do, because of these materials, the gases are produced near the fuse, and these gases actually help to create a high pressure turbulent medium. So these gases actually it will create a high pressure turbulent medium. So it create a high pressure turbulent medium surrounding this arc. Whenever arc is there, whenever we want, whenever we interrupt the circuit, so arc is there. So it creates the high pressure turbulent medium surrounding the arc, and when the current does not reach the zero and the arc channel reduces to the minimum, that is whenever the current doesn't reach the zero, when we interrupt the circuit, there is the arc for a small amount of time. So this high turbulent medium, what it will do, it will try to this keep it minimum. So what it will do, these gases mix with the some ionized gases is there which will create the arc. So it will mix with that ionized gas and de-ionize them and remove them, these ions, from the this arc area. So the main idea is that they will create the medium will create the gases, and that gas will, you can say, it creates the high pressure and turbulent within that particular area, and when the current is interrupted in that very area, so what happens, it will de-ionize that area and remove that ions from that area, because of that ions, this is arc is sustained. If we are not removing that ions from that space, arc is necessary, okay, it is required for some small amount of time, however not for the large amount of time. And what it will do, this the high pressure created by this material, it will de-ionize that area after the arc is struck. So this leads to the rapid buildup of the dielectric strength that can this you can say withstand the voltage or the transient recovery voltage that we can discuss in the circuit breaker. So this is the main idea, is that that the material that are used around the fuse, that is fiber, melamine, boric acid, and the carbon tetrachloride, it will produce a very high pressure which is actually turbulent, or you can say that produces the turbulent medium. And main idea is to de-ionize the area, because the arc is due to the ions present in that particular area. They will de-ionize the area, and as a result, it can withstand, it can build up the dielectric strength. So there is the building up of the dielectric strength there. Now, second type of fuse is the vacuum fuse. Second type of fuse is vacuum fuse. So in that very case, you can say that design operation and the current voltage relationship of this fuse is similar to that of the expulsion type fuse. The main difference in case of vacuum is that it is completely sealed unit. So this vacuum fuse actually a completely sealed unit. So it is a completely sealed unit and no expulsion action is there in that. So no expulsion action is there in that, and because no, there it is a medium, it is a vacuum, so no ions are present there. So interruption in that very case occurs because of the rapid buildup of interruption occurs due to the rapid buildup of dielectric strength. So these are actually the non-current limiting fuse that we cannot limit the current in these two cases, that is expulsion type and the vacuum type fuses. Now, third one is the current limiting fuse. Third one in this case is the current limiting fuse. So, in this case, if you see in the current limiting fuse, what is there? This is the typical current limiting fuse. So, what happens that in this case, the fusible element is very long. So, this is the internal, you can say the fusible element. It is the fusible element is very long. So, the element is completely surrounded by the filler material. So this element is completely surrounded by the filler material. Typically, the filler material that are used in this case is silica sand. It is silica sand to contain the arc as well as to maintain a very high pressure in a long restricted arc area caused by the melting of the full length of the element. Now, what happens? What it does whenever, because it is connected with the filler material, that is, it is surrounded by the filler material. Now, when the arc is struck in that very case, when the arc is struck in that very case, now in that very case, what happens? The arc is because it is surrounded by the filler material, so it is the area of this arc is reduced. So since the area of the arc is reduced, so you can say it allows a very high resistance, and as a result, since the area is inversely proportional to the resistance, so what we do, we restricted the arc to a particular area because of this filler material, and we restricted the arc to a particular area, and because of which the resistance is increased in the circuit for a very short period of time, and as a result we can't have the restriking, or you can say that you can have the arc cease to exist in that very case. So this is the main idea of this. So what we do in case of current limiting fuse, what we do, we restricted the arc, that is, we limit the current, we restricted the arc for a particular area by using the filler material, and we decrease the what we do, we decrease the area of the cross section, and as a result the resistance is increases, and the you can say the arc doesn't restrike in that very case. So this is the main idea behind that. So you can say that this is how we can limit the current. There is no other expulsion mechanism that has been used in that very case. No expulsion mechanism has been used in this case. Now this is about the current limiting fuse. Now, if you take the case of physics behind the fuse interruption, if you see the physics behind the fuse interruption, then you can say that if you want to model the interruption of the fuse, any circuit that gives us the physics behind this, you can say that fuse interruption. So we can say, we can draw like that. That is, we have a simple circuit. Vt is the source in that very case. Ls is the inductance. Then the current is It. Then arc that is struck after the current is, that is, the circuit is interrupted, then it is given by, let us suppose, E arc. That's after the fault occurs, the circuit is interrupted, then in that very case, E arc is actually the arc voltage, E arc is the arc voltage, Vt is the source voltage. Then the differential equation that is governing this circuit, the fault circuit, is given by the expression that is Vt equal, you can say Vt equal Vt minus E arc equals to L di by dt, or Ls di by t, whatever you want to take. We can calculate the value of the current. It in that very case is equals to 1 by L Vt minus E arc t dt. So this is the arc interruption circuit. If you want to analyze any that is a circuit in which this fuse is used, then this circuit you have to use. So what this equation actually brings out the some concepts related to that. In that very case, if you see the current, the first case is that in this case, if you see, the current is proportional to the area under the difference of source and the arc voltage. So the current is proportional to area under the difference of arc and the source voltage. Now, the inductance in this case, inductance L, in this case, it provides a stored energy and necessary voltage to sustain the current, even if the instantaneous arc voltage of the fuse exceeds the source voltage. So, this inductance plays a very important role. It provides the stored energy in that very case. Now, second observation from this equation is that higher the source voltage, greater the source voltage, it will adversely affect the interruption of the current. So, greater the source voltage, greater be the current. So, greater be the source voltage, then greater be the current. So, it will impact the or affect the interruption of the current. And lower the inductance and the higher with the fault current, which is obvious from that. Lower with the inductance, higher with the fault current. जितनी कम inductance होगी उतनी ज़्यादा fault current होगी. So these are some observations related to that. So the fuses that can be used, it can be the power class fuses or the distribution class fuses. It can be the power class fuses and the distribution class fuses. So they are a different rating is quite different. If you take the case of the power fuses, then these are and it has the high X by R ratio. This issue encountered because X is high in that very case. So that thing is there. Distributions fuses. If you take the case of distribution fuses, it have specifications more closely matched to the distribution system, and which actually which is further away from the source or substation on a single phase or three phase system. So it depends on the what type of fuses we are using, whether the power class fuses we are using, or we can distribution class fuses that we are using. So this is about some this type of the fuses and this fuse interruption characteristics, and what are the you can say that what are some of the findings related to that. So there are some terminologies also related to that. That is, you can have a, voltage rating that we have already discussed in this lecture. If you take the case of the voltage rating of the fuse, you can say that the RMS alternating current voltage at which the fuse is designed to operate, and or at which we want the interruption, not more at that voltage we want the interruption of the current, not more than that. So if you take the case of the fuses of 600 voltage, then volts class with the which always function safely on the lesser voltage. So for if you take the case of the if the voltage rating of the fuse is 600 volt, then you can say that these are typically used for 480 and 200 volts. These are used for that very purpose. Now, second, we have discussed the interrupting rating. This is the maximum current that the overcurrent device can safely interrupt at the stated voltage frequency and short circuit power factor. So that is also same as compared to that of the voltage rating. So this is all about the different terminologies that we have used. One more terminology is that continuous rating. So you can say the continuous rating is that as you can see that the it is the you can say that with all the overcurrent devices, most fuses are limited to a continuous loading of 80% of the whatever the rating of the fuse is there. So this is actually due to the mutual heating between the switch fuse and the adjacent devices. So these things we have to take into consideration while considering these continuous ratings also. So this is about the different type of fuses and the characteristics. So what we discussed today, we discussed the different type of fuses. That is, different type of fuses are there. That is, we will have the you can have the non-current limiting type, that is the expulsion and the vacuum type. Then the current limiting type fuse. So expulsion and vacuum actually based on the idea of the deionization of particular area, and current limiting is actually based on the idea of it is based on the idea of increasing the resistance by decreasing the area of the cross section while using some material. And we also discussed that how this very inverse type of characteristics can be obtained in case of you can say in case of fuse, very inverse type of characteristics can be employed. Then we discussed the interrupting characteristics and the thermal characteristics also in that very case. Now, any questions related to that? Any questions?